What are the top 9 things for buyers to know about what's happening in the Northern Virginia real estate market? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today, and here's the rundown. Hey everyone, I'm Darren Robertson, realtor in Northern Virginia with Robertson Residential Group and Samson Properties. Thank you so much for joining us today. If this is your first time here, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I post new videos every week and you don't want to miss anything. So, what are the top 9 things for buyers to know about what's happening with the Northern Virginia real estate market? Tip number 1, the market is definitely shifting. After the pandemic started in 2020, the market slowed down a good amount. People were wondering what's going to happen. Everyone was wondering if recording offices were going to close in counties, if real estate sales would stop temporarily. So there was a lull that happened for a while when the pandemic started. About 2 or 3 months after the pandemic, the market really started to take off, especially that summer of 2020. And the market took off, the real estate market did, like a rocket, and it really just never stopped until recently, until this shift. But during that time, later in 2020, 2021, early 2022, bidding wars took on a whole new dimension. You'd have easily 10, 15 plus offers on properties, almost every single home and townhome. Not only would the bidding wars happen, but you'd have basically almost every single bidding war that was happening. You'd have the top several offers, maybe even most of the offers that would be submitted would have 0 contingencies. No home inspection contingency, no appraisal contingency, no financing contingency. Just, it was bonkers, right? So that's kind of what happened for up until about just a few months ago. Tip number 2, contingencies for buyers are actually becoming a thing again. So they became very uncommon for buyers that were actually winning contracts during this crazy boom that started in 2020. Now, I'm seeing a lot fewer bidding wars, although they are still happening. And I'm seeing a lot of situations where buyers are able to have regular contingencies again in contracts and still win contracts. So that's a big deal. For a long time, buyers just were not able to have those things and still win contracts. Now we're seeing situations, a lot of our clients are seeing situations where they're able to have a regular negotiable home inspection contingency again, where they're able to have a regular financing contingency, a regular appraisal contingency. You're able to have those things again and still win contracts. Tip number 3, the market is normalizing. It's not becoming a buyer's market overnight. So what does that mean? It just means that as a buyer, it's not necessarily like you're able to get a huge discount on every single property. It just means that prices are starting to stabilize, prices are coming down some, properties are sitting on the market a little longer, and things are just normalizing. So what's happened is a lot of sellers are still living in the past. They're still living in the market from a few months ago. And so they're overpricing. And that's why a lot of these situations that you're seeing result in price reductions. So that's a big opportunity for a buyer. Tip number 4, many sellers have not come to terms with the current market. So what this means is a lot of sellers are still living in the past. They're living in the market from a few months ago. Because of the interest rates going up, there are fewer buyers in the game right now. And so the sellers that are smart right now are pricing competitively, and they're getting out ahead of the shift that's happening in the market instead of thinking that they can still get the prices that they were getting 2 or 3 months ago. So what does that mean to you as a buyer when you have lots of sellers that are still living in the market from a few months ago? It just means that there's like a tug of war right now between buyers and sellers. And it means as a buyer, it might take a little bit of extra patience in your home search to find the property that you want at the price that you want. It's going to take a while for sellers to continue to realize that they're not in the driver's seat like they were in the real estate market as recently as a couple months ago. Tip number 5, there are still bidding wars in this market, and it's important to know how to navigate those. Even though there's still bidding wars, there're just not as many of them. The segment of the market where bidding wars typically happen is the most upgraded properties that are on the market, the nicest ones, the most renovated ones, the showpieces. These are the properties that get the most interest from buyers. A lot of buyers don't want to have to do work after they buy a property and upgrade a property. So the ones that are getting the most interest, the properties that are getting the most action right now, are the most upgraded move-in ready properties. And if those properties are priced well, they will get a lot of action, and they very well could have a bidding war on their hands. The properties that are not doing quite as well in this shifting market are properties that need some work and are not priced well. If a property is a fixer-upper and it's priced pretty well, it'll still get a lot of interest. But the problem is a lot of sellers are still overpricing their properties even though they need work or even though they're not particularly upgraded. And so those kind of properties are just not getting as much interest, and they're sitting on the market a little longer usually. Tip number 6, the condo market is still fairly erratic right now and can be a good opportunity for buyers. So what do I mean by that? Well, during the boom from 2020 into early 2022, condos were not benefiting as much from that boom as single-family homes and townhomes. One of the trends that started happening a lot was that buyers just needed more space. A lot of people were working from home. They wanted private entrances and patios and yards and just more space, second and third bedrooms for office space, things like that. So condos, while they did fine in many situations, they just weren't benefiting from that crazy bonkers boom from 2020 into early 2022. So condos still are recovering just from that sort of more erratic kind of market that they experienced from the past couple of years. So they still represent a really good opportunity for buyers. Tip number 7, fixer-uppers are a really good opportunity for buyers in this current market. So right now, any property that is overpriced for this current market will likely sit longer on the market, but fixer-uppers and places that just need some updating are sitting longer. And so as such, that represents a great opportunity for buyers who don't mind putting work into properties and buying a place that's not completely move-in ready. The caveat there, just to keep in mind, is that ever since 2020 on through now, it's hard to nail down contractors on scheduling and getting people in to do work. So just know that if you buy a fixer-upper, you might need some patience in terms of getting together a good crew of people that is available and can do good work. Tip number 8. Yes, interest rates are higher right now, but compared to history, they're not that bad. Bottom line is we all got spoiled for a long time with these artificially low interest rates, and they were amazing, but interest rates where they're at right now, they're not bad. And a lender that I know really well has a good saying when it comes to the current interest rates: marry the home, not the interest rate. So I think it's a really good thing to keep in mind. You're getting an interest rate when you buy right now that might be a little higher than you'd like. However, you can always refi in the future. Your home, once you buy your home, that's where you want to get into the place that you really love. Interest rates can always be changed later. Your home can't unless you sell and buy another one in the future. So it's good to focus on finding a home that you really like right now and knowing that you can always refinance your interest rate later. Tip number 9. This is a great market for any buyer who needs to sell their home and buy another home. So during the boom from 2020 on into early 2022, home sale contingencies just became a thing of the past. They just weren't accepted. Literally, every single client I had who was trying to sell their home and then buy another home, because of how crazy the market was, they had to do all kinds of different arrangements that really were not ideal for them. Selling their property first and making a pretty penny on it, which was great, but having to look into temporary living arrangements and put their belongings in storage while they found the right property. And now we actually have a lot of clients who are getting home sale contingencies accepted again. So they're writing offers on properties that have been on the market a little bit longer, and the seller is more willing at that point to consider something like a home sale contingency. I mean, that's a big deal, and it allows you as a buyer who's trying to sell your property to just have a lot more flexibility with the timeline and the logistics of your move. So now you know the top 9 things for buyers to know about what's happening with the Northern Virginia real estate market. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and leave a comment down below and let me know if you're planning on buying your first home. Also, please be sure to hit the subscribe button. We post new videos every week and you don't want to miss anything.